Hold on. Welcome in, everybody, to the High Noon Rant for a Friday afternoon. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, high noon, 12 p.m. It's the first of two streams that we do here. I say that tongue firmly in cheek because the Radio Misfits stream, the one that comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's been in a state of flux the last couple of days. It's the season, man. I told you guys. I said, look, there are, first of all, James has like 50 kids, right? So he's going to have interruptions. You know, I got a kid. I'm going to have interruptions. There's just stuff that goes on during this time of year where we're not always as free at 9 p.m. on a weeknight as maybe we would normally. So thank you for being patient with that. We'll try and get that ship straightened out and get into a more regular kind of. Hold on. Why isn't this? Hold on a second. Give me a minute here. I'm having a. How are you? Welcome to the chat room. We got Pete in the chat room. We got Jeff in the chat room. We got Al in the chat room. We got everybody in the chat room. Doesn't feel like you should have to click it that many times, right? I use for the non-stream, for the non-tech aspects of the show. I use a very old computer that is, just sometimes it gets a little finicky. All right, thank you. Welcome into the show. Let me make sure everything is fine. I had to break down the studio last night because I had to do something. I did something special, so that's why we're a little bit late today. I do apologize for that as well, and thank you again for your patience. Okay, first and foremost, a couple of things we need to talk about because everybody knows that what this show is an everyday experience. Come join us. Hang out in the chat room. We appreciate that. We've got a lively chat room. You can watch on YouTube. You can watch on Facebook, however it is. We've been doing this for 2 years. We do it every single day. It is everything that you need to know about this particular day. We do it in 4 quarters. That's how I look at it. The first segment, first quarter, we call that Erstwhile on This Day. It's a look back at history. Then the second is birthdays. We go through a list of people who were born on this day, and really we just decide if we like them or not. Comes third quarter. That's the deads. These are the people who passed away on this day in history, and we like to look at their life's resume and send them to heaven or hell, whichever. Today, there's one. Well, today's fun. All the deads are fun. I know that sounds sort of counterintuitive, but they are because we get to sit in judgment. That's the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter of this show is all the hot topics, headlines, current events, everything that people are buzzing about today. I don't want anybody coming up to you at any moment today going, hey, did you hear about? And then you got to listen to them through their filter. Choose my filter. We do it every day. I think you'll find that it's a fairly consistent filter. It's probably right as often as it is wrong. And I think that that's probably the best thing you can say about a human's opinion in this year of our Lord 2023. Okay. Couple of the ways this show is performed. One, it's a stream of consciousness. That means I just sit here and talk uninterrupted for about 2 hours. No commercial breaks, no songs, no nothing. Oh, and we got problems with songs. We'll talk about problems with songs this show is having. So a stream of consciousness, it's unfiltered. I can say anything, but I'm not really worried about saying terrible things because as I always point out to my friends in radio who say, that's dangerous, dude. You might not get a job because it's something you accidentally say. And I always say to them, I'm not worried about that, see, because I'm not a jerk off. Like anything that I say, if I say something to be funny, I will qualify it immediately as, come on, that's a joke. I mean, I am not a bad person. People know I'm not a bad person. And I'm not playing that cancel game. Oh, he made a joke about a boy who wore a dress and now he can never work again. Oh my God. All right. So we don't do that. We don't engage in really divisive political stuff here. This is talk radio the way I believe it should be heard. And because of that, there's, not really a lot of opportunities for what I would call lifestyle or just normal human talk radio. So we do it here. And because of that, we require your assistance. That's right. We've been doing it for 2.5 years now. We are in year 3. You people and your tips have kept this show alive. We do appreciate it. I will tell you how we do this. We put up a Venmo, a Cash App. If you feel so inclined, you want to keep this going. We do it month to month. We are currently starting a new month. We didn't reach our goal to pay for November or December, I should say. We got November. We're trying to pay for December ahead of time. And we're not there yet. However, we are really, really close. You people, I told you yesterday here. First of all, let's thank today's hold on. Today's Now, I haven't checked anything today, so this might be unfair, but today's executive producer is Leslie C. Leslie C. dropped a little something there in the Cash App or the Venmo yesterday. We do appreciate that. Hold on, let me do the ticker. I did a nice ticker for what we have. Here you go. I'll put the ticker up to explain it. So yesterday, I believe we were at 265, and I think we're at one. Hold on. What does it say? What are we at? We must raise one. We're at 150. We were at 165 yesterday, or 265. I'm sorry, 265. Now, I also want to thank people who have done this from time to time, and I will absolutely do what you ask, and that is to keep them quiet. So I just want to thank somebody who dropped something, and hey, we can keep it quiet too. If you don't want your name to be up there, that's fine. But thank you to the people who helped out yesterday. And Leslie C had the big tip for yesterday's round, and we're at 150 by the end of show Sunday. So excuse me, my voice is going in and out. That ain't good. It's fundraising time. I can't. Anyway, so that's that with that. Okay, thank you, folks. Executive producer of today's show, the great Leslie C. She's been there for us every month. She's like more than that. She's absolutely terrific. If you're so moved at some point during the show, there it is. I'll leave it there. All right, let's get started with today's show. I've explained what everything is, how we do it in a 4-quarter model, 4 different segments, which is so weird because each one of these segments could be its own show, right? It could be its own podcast, its own daily podcast. But it's not. We do it in one show. Why? Because I still believe in the live listen. I believe in the stream. I believe in the idea of people wanting to be with another person while they do this. At the same time, I just think there's something to it. That's why I love the chat room, and that's why I'm partial to the chat room. But again, I have to say this because, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. The people who are not in the chat room and the people who listen in other ways and help out the show, man, you guys are just as important, even though you're quiet, and I do appreciate it. So, all right, without further ado, let's get started. It is the High Noon Rant for the first day of December. Ooh, hold on. See, look at this. Shouldn't have to hit it that long just to get it to activate. Here we go. There we go. It is the High Noon Rant for December the 1st. It is the 12th month, the very first day, year of our Lord 2023. There are, where are we at in days? 30? Well, okay. I'm not as dumb as that made me seem. It's December 1st, and, we always do how many days until the end of the year. I was confused because I don't know, do we go all the way to, it's 30 days. It's the first. That means there's 30 days because we don't count this one. Whatever. I don't care. You get it. Make those New Year's Eve plans now. Literally make the New Year's Eve plans now. I joke about it in April. Hey, it's 500 days till New Year's. Make them plan. I joke about it all year round. Now I'm not joking. Make those damn New Year's Eve plans. I've been telling you all year. All right, let's get started. The first segment that we do on the show, we like to call it Erstwhile on This Day. It's Q1. And what do we do here? Well, Erstwhile on This Day is a look back at all the events that have shaped our understanding of this day. These are the things that have happened on this day. Now, why do we do it? Well, because I believe in patterns and rhythms. I believe in the energy of the world. I believe that we are all just a bunch of blinded molecules slamming into each other, and it's chaos out there. However, if we can find anything that gives us an edge in our bets in the coming hours, let's do that. So let's take a look. Erstwhile on this day. These are the events that occurred on this day throughout history. On this day in 1862, in the State of the Union address, President Abraham Lincoln reaffirms the necessity of ending slavery as ordered 10 weeks earlier in the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah, I like Lincoln. I'm a blend of Lincoln, born and raised in Illinois. Lincoln on my driver's license, Lincoln on my license plate, Lincoln, stinking Lincoln everywhere. And I like Lincoln, he did that thing. He won the Civil War. Okay, that's good. But, Lincoln believed that slavery needed to end for economic reasons. I mean, that was like an economic thing. He didn't really think that black people were as good as white people, is my point. And there has been an awful lot written about that over the years. And it seems that history doesn't really want to lean into that. You know who leans into that? Black historians. Black historians, when writing about Lincoln, they print all the addresses. They highlight the parts that history has forgotten that Lincoln actually said about nobody believes that a black man is equal to a white man, but slavery is immoral. I mean, so, I don't want to shit on Lincoln, but, look, he was a man of his time. He won the Civil War. He was tall. On this day in 1878, President Rutherford B. Hayes, boy, another spare. Lincoln, not a spare. We talk a lot about these spare presidents that pop up from time to time. Rutherford B. Hayes is absolutely a spare president. I don't know what that guy ever did. Here's what he did. He got the first telephone in the White House. There you go. Hey, what'd you do as president? Well, there were some scandals, and I got the first phone. That's something. We'll go with that, Ruffy. What do you think it was, Ruffy? Ford? What do you call Rutherford? What's the nickname for Rutherford? Ruth? No, too feminine. Ford? On this day in 1918, Iceland becomes a sovereign state. Yeah! Ever been to Iceland? You simply must go. It is fantastic. Is it my favorite place on earth? I think Dublin might be my favorite place on earth. I think like the O'Connell Street Bridge right over the Liffey, separating the two halves of Dublin. You're looking at the Guinness Brewery on this side. You're looking at Trinity College on this side. That's probably my favorite place. I also like London. I also like Trafalgar Square, just standing in the middle of Trafalgar Square going, wow, this is cool. Times Square also has that. But man, there was something about the experience that I had in Iceland where I am standing in the middle of this lava field that appears to go on for hundreds of miles as far as the eye can see. I felt like I was on the moon. I have never had a more isolated, unique human geographic experience as when I was in Iceland. Iceland, you simply must go. They became their own country on this day. They broke away from Daneland, Denmark, Danish. They broke away from that stuff, but then not fully. The Icelandic people are Danes at heart. They are all about the Viking thing, and so anyway, on this day they became their own thing, but still they are sort of tethered to Denmark in a weird way. Anyway, Iceland becomes a sovereign state, yet remains a part of the Danish kingdom. There you go, on this day in 1918. I don't think that's the case anymore. They have their own independent parliament and all that stuff, and I'm not sure there is a Danish kingdom in 2023, but moving on. On this day in 1952, the New York Daily News reports the news of Christine Jorgensen, the first notable case of sex reassignment surgery. Oh my God. You know what I say about early adopters? You know what I say about first generation anything? Imagine they haven't even they still can't make a penis. They can't make a penis. They can try, but it's not, it's 2023. They did this in 1955. Now, this was male to female, which you got to imagine is easier, right? Like all you need is like a melon baller and maybe some wire snips. I don't know but in 1956, they didn't even have the tools to do this kind of surgery. They were just like, I guess this person who is known to the world as Christine Jorgensen, the first person to have a sex change operation, I guess she just walked into a doctor's office at some point in, 1952 and said, hey, who's up for trying a little something? Because that's really what this had to have been. No thanks. On this, No, it's a noon show. I don't need to go. I know I'm doing a stream of consciousness, but see, this is where my governor and the fact that I do filter myself because I'm a decent, morally grounded person. I won't say what I was thinking stuff, but we don't need to go there because that's what this show's about. On this day in 1955, the American Civil Rights Movement in Montgomery, Alabama, seamstress Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat to a white man and is arrested for violating the city's racial segregation laws. An incident which leads to that city's bus boycott. Okay, obviously, an incredibly big moment in recent American history, certainly in the civil rights movement. I mean, this is as big as it gets. And it's just, let me just say, before I go off on my little stream rant about this, let me just say, what an awful, draconian, authoritative, dictatorial, whatever you want to call it, idea that you won't let people sit where they want on a bus based on their skin tone. Okay, so we all agree that was fucked up. She's a hero. What she did, that took balls, man. Doesn't matter. She was put up to it. Yeah. And I bet they asked a lot of other people, and they were like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So what? Of course, she was a. Stop it. She allowed herself to become a part of American history, and therefore Rosa Parks is regarded as an icon, and rightfully so. Now, let me go on my rant, because I rode a lot of buses in my day. Let me just say, all of that being said, which we all agree on with our heart, if I was like a legislator, I think I would vote in that way, because I would vote. But, the back of the bus, can we just talk about the back of the bus? I've never really understood. I mean, I get it in principle. You can't tell me I have to sit in the back of the bus. But the fact of the matter is, I want to sit in the back of the bus. I rode a lot of school buses to school. The back of the bus is where all the good stuff was going on. All furthest away from the driver. I mean, there was sex stuff going on back in the bus. There were like stoners getting high in the back of there was stuff. There was stuff happening. You wanted to be. Now, again, nobody wants to be told they have to sit in the back of the bus. I'm just saying, I always thought that was a curious aspect of this, that in my worldview, being forced to sit in the back of the bus would be like, all right, you don't have to ask me twice. But again, I'm a white man and I have a certain level of privilege that I don't really look at things in the same way. On this day, Rosa Parks, she refused to sit in the cool part of the bus. Although I guess it wasn't cool back then, right? It probably wasn't cool to be back there back then, because everybody was like, what do you mean they're making us sit? Yeah. All right, Rosa Parks. Didn't she die recently, a couple of years back? Yeah, she did. All right. On this day in 1958, here's a big one. This is a big one. This is a big one for my city of Chicago. The Our Lady of the Angels fire. It was a school, Catholic school, and it went up in flames. 95 children died. 3 nuns. 3 nuns. I'm guessing the bulk of the nuns found their way out of the engulfed Our Lady of Angels school fire. This school fire killed 95 kids, or 92 kids and 3 nuns. And it was a national tragedy on this day in 1958. And it is solely responsible for the reason that there are so many crazy, but there didn't used to be, this is what I mean. There didn't used to be fire exits in schools. There didn't used to be like escape egg. There didn't used to be any kind of fire prevention at any kind in schools. And a fire broke out in an old Catholic school in Chicago, and everybody died. Except the nuns. The nuns seem to have gotten out okay. Nuns. Don't even get me started on nuns. I'm not going to say nuns are the worst, because I don't know that they're the worst. What does that mean? You know what I mean? All I can tell you that in my life experience, nuns scare the shit out of me. They scare the shit out of me. 2 of the meanest people, like if I was to make a list of the 10 meanest people I've known in my life, 2 of them are nuns. 2 of them are absolutely nuns. I look back as an adult on some of the things that I witnessed these nuns doing as a child, and I think, wow, that was really fucked up. That was an emotionally damaged, intellectually immature person in a position of wild authority. Because when you're a kid, nuns are like drill sergeants. They have total authority over you, and they let go to their heads. They do. They just. First of all, can I just say this about nuns? And I can't speak for people who came up in different eras, different generations, different times. All I can speak is from my generation, my time. And I went to Catholic school, so if you wanted to be a nun, like if you became a nun in like 2015, that's an odd choice, right? You're a very devout Catholic for sure, and probably a great A Catholic. But like, as like a normal, well-rounded human, you're probably really weird, probably a little bit odd, right? Probably didn't have a whole bunch of fun in high school or college. I don't know. It's a strange choice, because I think I mean, I truly believe, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not a Catholic, not a practicing Catholic, even though I was raised that way. I don't understand this whole idea that you have to give up your entire life as some sort of show to God that you love him. Like my God, the God that, if there is one, the God that I believe in isn't that petty. He knows we love him and we know he loves us. And, it's not about, I'm your God, but you either never have sex with anybody and pretend to be married to me for the rest of your life, or you're going to hell. See, that's bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, nuns, they scare the shit out of me. And they all survived, apparently, except 3 of them. The Our Lady of Angels school fire on this day in 1958. Oh, they got out. On this day in 1974, so we don't do this much, but we do this from time to time when it's something that strikes me as curious. Now, what I'm talking about are airline disasters. We every day, look, folks, I go through this list every day, every single day. There's like a half dozen airline disasters. Most of them occurred before the year 2000. A lot of them in the 60s, a lot of them in the 70s. I don't know why anybody got on a plane in the 1970s. Seriously, why the hell? People put me on planes in the 1970s. And now I look at this and I'm like, you were convinced air travel was safe in the 1970s? Planes crashed all the time. Case in point, on this day in 1974, TWA Flight 514 of Boeing 727 crashes northwest of Dulles International Airport, killing all 92 people on board. 1974, 92 people died on this day in 1974, Boeing 727. Crazy. Also, on this day in 1974, Northwest Orient Flight 6231, another Boeing 727, crashed an hour after the one crashed in Washington. This one crashed at JFK in New York. 2 727 commercial airline jets on the exact same day. Think about that. We haven't had a commercial airline jet fall from the sky in years. We have one of these, and domestically, I can't remember the last time a commercial airliner crashed in America. They just don't do it anymore. But back in 1974, there were 2 domestic major disasters on the same day in the same air traffic region. I mean, basically, Dulles and JFK, that's on the eastern seaboard. I mean, that's why I don't understand, man. I am right now in this moment, I'm angry at my mom for ever putting me on a plane in the 1970s. It was madness. On this day in 1997, 14-year-old Michael Carneal. Oh, okay. 23, 33, 37. So this dude is 37 now. He was 14 when he did this. And I remembered it because it was one of the early ones. This is the Paducah, Kentucky shooting. The 1997 school shooting in Paducah, Kentucky. And the reason I remember this one was because it was one of the first. It was one of the early ones. It was like, oh my God. I don't know if this was just before Columbine or after Columbine or something, but it was like, oh my God. And I remember the details of this one. It's hard to remember the details of mass shootings now because there's just been so many that we've been, flooded with over the past few years. But in 1997, I remember these details. This kid had a rifle that he took from his dad. And this was the kid who laid in a field across from the school where the buses picked up kids. And when the kids came out for school, he laid in there and he just started sniping kids. Oh my God, what a little monster. On this day in 1997, hopefully he's still in jail and maybe even dead. Who knows? On this day, fun fact, 2019, on this day. This is the day in Wuhan that they went, we got a problem here. Today is the official day that the Wuhan outbreak was considered a problem. On this day, 2019, the outbreak of the coronavirus infection begins and is documented in Wuhan. There you go. It all started. Whatever happened with that? Whatever happened with the coronavirus? By the way, why is that a thing? Wasn't that a thing? Wasn't it like we're a bunch of idiots arguing over Wuhan, not Wuhan? I mean, isn't it pretty much accepted that it started in Wuhan, China? Isn't that what it is? What was the other argument? No, it just started because there's not enough love in the world. I mean, I don't. What was the reason? What was the argument? Like, why were people like, it didn't start in China? Well, I think it might have had to do with a lot of like the racist shit that came after that. Like if you were to just flat out say, okay, breaking news, it started in China, I'd be like, oh, okay, it started in China. But then like the racist idiots got a hold of it and it's like, Ching Chong Chinamen, we need to kill all the Chinamen. And you're like, I guess that was the problem? Is that why people started denying that it started in China? We can't deny the facts. It looks like it started in China. I mean, I think here we are a bunch of years later, everybody's like, yep, pretty much agree. But, you know, there was like a period of time where people were like, that's a lie that it started in China. I'm like, is it a lie or do you just not like the racists who are adding to the story? Which is it? I don't get it. We can't ignore facts. All right, there you have it. Erstwhile, on this day. Let's move into birthdays. Quarter two. They say it's the birthday. Born on this day in 1923, American comedian and actor Dick Shawn. Dick Shawn had one of the great deaths in Hollywood. Dick Shawn was a stand-up comedian. I think he was at the San Diego State University Performance Center. I think it was in San Diego. Dick Shawn, what year? 1987. He was up there on stage and he was doing his stuff. Hey, I'm Dick Shawn. You remember me from Mad World? I was the big guy that was like, Mama, that was me. And then everybody's like, oh, we love Dick Shawn. And then Dick Shawn's like, hey, here's a joke for you. And he collapsed dead on stage. And everybody was like, hey, he's really committed to this bit. He's not. And then someone in the audience yells, hey, is he okay? And then someone from backstage comes out because they know this isn't part of the act. And they're like, you okay? He died on stage. Dick Shawn, born on this day in 1923, died on stage. Here's a guy who never died on stage, born on this day in 1940, the great Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor tried to die a whole number of other ways, but never on stage. Richard Pryor, you know, it's fair to say he's the greatest comedian of all time. It's absolutely fair. That's a debatable question. For me, it's always a question of three guys. You want to have the conversation of the greatest stand-up comedian of all time? For me, it's Richard Pryor, George Carlin, or Bill Hicks. That's it. We got to have that conversation. Let's see. What Richard Pryor had a crazy life, man. Any thoughts on Richard Pryor? Other than I love that guy. I mean, he was just so great. I mean, he's probably not great like a lot of people are. Like, he was difficult when he was on drugs. Well, everybody is. But he seemed like a good dude. All right, Richard Pryor, born on this day. Yeah, we like him. Just so we're clear, we like Richard Pryor. Born on this day in 1940. Born on this day in 1945, Bette Midler. I have never understood Bette Midler. She's not from the Clone Factory. Just so you know, I'm always going on about the Hollywood Clone Factory and how they create things. They would have never created a Bette Midler. Bette Midler was maybe like created by some indie Clone Factory, that was trying new things. I don't know. I never got Bette Midler. Happy birthday, Bette Midler. Born on this day in 1945. Although, you want to know something funny about me? Okay. I love it when my friends start texting me during. So here's something about me. So Bette Midler, I don't know, what'd she do? She did a bunch of movies that like our moms liked, right? And stuff like that. And it's like, okay, Bette Midler. But for some reason, and I don't know why it is, I think it might be because of the early days of cable and it was on a lot. But for some reason, like a teenage me found himself watching and really to this day enjoying the Bette Midler movie Beaches. Have you guys ever seen Beaches? I don't know, something about me. Look, I like the Notebook. I used to say that I was very anti-romantic comedy, but I'm not anti-rom-com. I'm anti-bad rom-com, and there's a lot of bad rom-com, but there's also good. So, but Beaches is kind of a rom-com. not so much com though, but there is comedy in it. It's Barbara Hershey, Bette Midler, and James Caan. It takes place over the course of a lifetime. It's about the friendship between two girls. Yeah, I know. I'm like 18 maybe, and I'm watching this. I'm going, this is pretty good. Here's what I think. I thought Barbara Hershey was hot. I think that's what it was. I think I watched it for Barbara Hershey and just kind of ignored that Bette Midler was also in it. So anyway, happy birthday, Bette Midler, born on this day in 1945. I never got her, but I begrudge nobody their success. So good for her. Not from the Hollywood Clone Factory. We don't know what Bette Midler is. Bette Midler came from like the indie Clone Factory that gave us things like Martha Plimpton, Steve Buscemi, just like these weird, like off-looking, clones where we're like, huh? Anyway, that's Bette Midler. Born on this day in 1949. This is not the going to hell, but just gotta go to hell. You'd have to imagine this dude would be on his way. Happy birthday, Pablo Escobar. For all you fans of world-renowned narco-terrorism, he's your guy. Born on this day in 1949. Born on this day in 1958, celebrating a birthday today. Charlene Tilton. But for some reason, everybody, again, when I say everybody, my peer group was a bunch of 10-year-olds. So everybody in my peer group seemed to call her Charlene Titten. I don't know why that. What did she have? Big boobs? She was Lucy Ewing on Dallas. She was the youngest of the Dallas family. So I think, like all my friends were like, yeah, she's hot, and I'm like, have you guys seen Sue Ellen? Or no, wait, was it Sue Ellen? Or who did Victoria Principal play? Man, that was the one from Dallas that I was like, what? What are you guys messing around with Lucy for? There's a real woman walking around in that house, and her name is Victoria Principal. I'm 10 years old. I was still like, I want a real woman. I don't know. Never really got it with Charlene Tilton. Wonder what she looks like now. What do you think Charlene Tilton looks like now? Well, that's what Google's for. Born on this day in 1958, Charlene Tilton. Born on this day in 1970, Sarah Silverman. Sarah Silverman. Okay, so we were just talking about Richard Pryor. Where does she rank? She ranks pretty high as far as, look, at this point, I'm done doing female category because there are so many freaking funny female comics out there. That whole thing, chicks ain't funny. Okay, that maybe used to be the case when it was pretty standard and tropey for female comedians to just get up and go and whine about, women things. We're doing comedy for women. No, not, but there are a bunch of women who do comedy the way men do, which is not for men or women. Just if it's funny, it's funny. And Sarah Silverman was sort of the first one that did that. Eliza Schlesinger is great. Who else is great? There's a lot of really funny women. And I will say this about Sarah Silverman, born on this day in 1970. Her stand-up special, Jesus is Magic, is one of the most courageous, ballsy, and best stand-up comedian specials out there. It's not in my top, 3 or 4, but it's somewhere maybe in the top 5, somewhere with like, what was Rogan's? Was it Space Monkeys? Rogan had a special about 12 years ago. Space Monkeys from the Moon or something. I don't know. It was really good too. So it's somewhere in there. It's like I categorize it like that. Tremendous stand-up. Although for Sarah Silverman, there is the added bonus that it was unexpected because she's a girl. You don't expect girls to talk the way she did in that special, and it was very funny. Sarah Silverman, Jesus is Magic. If you've never seen it, it's really funny. Born on this day in 1982, Riz Ahmed, the actor. He's more of, I guess he started out as a hip hop guy, or was he an actor first and then a hip hop guy? I don't know. He's one of these hybrids. This happens a lot. Riz Ahmed, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1982. Here's one that I just love. I adore everything about this person. Saw her in concert a couple of years ago after just discovering her one night, late at night. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or something. I don't know. Probably longer than that. Late at night, some girl I was dating was listening to her CD, and I was like, oh, I like that song. And then I went and I watched the video, and I was blown away. And this person, I pegged at that moment. I said, this person's going to be an absolute superstar. And it was 12 years ago. And I missed on that. She hasn't gone where I think she needs to go. She has not ascended to where I believe her talent. She's Beyonce level. She's Taylor Swift level. She's an incredible talent. And I just don't understand why she never popped hugely. She's acting. Now she's probably more known as an actress than as a singer. But it is Janelle Monáe's birthday. Janelle Monáe. The thing that got me into Janelle Monáe all them years ago was her song, a song she had with Big Boy. I think she did with, is that what she did? Yeah. It's called Tightrope. So, yeah, just pull up the YouTube video for Janelle Monáe tightrope and just imagine me 15 years ago drunk watching this on YouTube in the middle of the night going, holy shit, this person has talent. Happy birthday, Janelle Monáe, born on this day in 1985. One of my favorites. Born on this day in 1988, Zoe Kravitz. Or is it Zoe Kravitz? I don't know. I don't know what these newfangled spellings and pronunciations. Zoe Kravitz is the daughter of Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet. She's a terrific young actress, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen her do Shakespeare or anything like that. I've just seen her in a bunch of movies where people run around and shit blows up. But she's been passable. So happy birthday to Zoe Kravitz. We don't know what she is. I don't even know how to say her name. Is it Zoe? Is it Zoe? It makes no sense. All right, folks, let's go into the deads. These are the people who have died on this day. We like to take a look at their life resume and decide based upon our own understanding of heaven and hell, where'd they go? Where'd they go? They go heaven or hell. All right, let's move on. Here's some deaths. Dead on this day in 1135. I don't even want to put this guy. I just think he's important. Maybe he's not. Henry the First. Henry the First, King of England. A couple of years ago, I went through this whole, fell into a Wikipedia hole on the kings and queens and the monarchies of England and all the different house changes and all that stuff. And I think I remember Henry the First being important. But who knows? But we're going to put him in hell because he's a king of England. In 1135, the shit that guy did. Oh, my God. I mean, I don't know what he did. As I said, I'm not even certain he belongs here. But he's going to hell because he was a king of England in the 1100s. And come on, man. There ain't a lot of great history about, the benevolence of kings back then. So I think he's going to hell. Here's another one, preemptively in hell. How this is crazy. All right. Dead on this day in 1947, Aleister Crowley. Now, who's Aleister Crowley? Aleister Crowley was one of the world's foremost Satanists back in the olden times. I mean, he died in 1947. Aleister Crowley, famously Ozzy Osbourne. Mr. Crowley, bow, 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 what went on in your head? Mr. Crowley from Ozzy Osbourne. But Aleister Crowley in his own right, English magician, mystic, paranormal researcher, and Satanist. So I'm guessing, he's probably got a seat. He's probably got a reserved seat down there. Born on or dead on this day in 1975. Here's someone. We're putting this kid in the Hall of Fame because this is retro. This is retro, old school, old head baseball. Love for me. Dead on this day in 1975, the great Nellie Fox. Who's Nellie Fox? You don't know who Nellie Fox is. Of course not. He's one of those forgotten baseball players. I mean, why not? Why would anyone remember probably the best second baseman to ever play the game? Yeah. Why would anyone forget or remember the guy who still to this day, even though, when did he die? He died in 75. Even though he died in 1975. Why would anybody remember the guy with the third lowest strikeout rate in the history of Major League Baseball? Nellie Fox was a baller. He's got all the accolades. We don't need to sing his praises. Hall of Fame, All-Star, MVP, all that kind of stuff. They didn't have MVP awards back then. But Nellie Fox was a baller, and you may have never heard of him before. Nellie Fox is going to heaven. Yes, he's also a White Sox great. And he's got the Nellie Fox statue. All that good stuff. We love Nellie Fox on the South Side. Nobody remembers him. Yeah, they remember Jimmy Fox. Nellie was better than Jimmy, okay? Just stop it. One played in New York, so we're going to remember him? Actually, I don't know where Jimmy Fox played. Where did Jimmy Fox play? See, now I got to know. This is what we do here. This is what a stream of consciousness does. Was Jimmy Fox a Boston Red Sox? I think he was. I think that's probably why. Who did Jimmy Fox play for?
According to Wikipedia, James Emery Fox, nicknamed Double X and the Beast, was an American professional baseball first baseman who played 20 seasons in Major League Baseball for the Philadelphia Athletics, Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs.
That's it. They played for glamour teams, glamour East Coast teams. That's why we remember him. Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox was good, though. I don't want to take anything away from Jimmy Fox. It just always bothered me that people in baseball seem to remember Jimmy Fox more than they remember Nellie. And they weren't related. All right, moving on. This is how many times I got to hit my work computer. It's fine. It's fine. It works. It's It's great. Not complaining. If anybody's listening. Dead on this day in 2018. Here's another guy. This dude here. Let me show you this guy. I remember this guy. I didn't know what to do with this guy. But if you're Gen X and you watched a lot of TV like me in the early 1970s, maybe saw sitcoms from the late 1960s, this dude was everywhere. He was a big star, and then he completely disappeared. Nobody knows. Oh, you know what? He didn't completely disappear because, of course, he came back in the 1980s, and he was on the show Mama's Family. We all remember Mama's Family, right? That was the spinoff from the Carol Burnett show. So we must consider the fate of one. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Berry. Ken Berry died on this day in 2018. Remember this guy? This guy was everywhere. I guess what we're seeing here is Ken Berry in the 80s as the put-upon husband from Mama's Family. What was his name? I don't know. But before that, he was like in everything. I think he did Disney movies. Oh, show me young Ken. There's a young Ken Berry. Look at that guy. He's the least offensive looking person in America in 1966, and that's why we made him a star. Well, that's what he kind of looking like Jerry Jones, isn't he? Kind of in his older days. Do you remember? First time I guess I saw him was F Troop, right? He was on F Troop. He was like the star of F Troop. And then, I didn't see much of F Troop. That was a little before my time, but I caught it in reruns. Then it was Mayberry RFD. Do you guys remember that? Even I was like 5 years old, and I'm like, you can't do this. They took Mayberry, they took the Andy Griffith show, and they just fired everybody, and they recast the entire town, and now there was a new sheriff, and it was this guy. I didn't like that. Anyway, Ken Berry, he died on this day, but I got to be honest, I had a very happy childhood, thanks to, and despite what I may have played up, I had a very happy childhood, and Ken Berry was a part of it, so he's going to heaven. There you have it. Peter knows. Peter's like, Mayberry RFD was awful. I didn't even get it. What is he supposed to be? They set the entire show up to fail. They just recast all these beloved characters with cheaper actors, I guess. Or I don't know what happened. I don't know what the story is. That is a wiki hole I will fall into now for sure later today. I will be a historian on what happened between the Andy Griffith show and Mayberry RFD. All right, there you have it. That's going to do it. That's 1, 2, and 3/4. We've done the erstwhile on this day. We have done the birthdays. We've also done the deads. Now it's time for all the news that's happening today. Quarter 4, folks. We're getting ready here. Again, thank you so much to our executive producer of this show, Leslie C. We're just $150, okay? I haven't checked yet today, so I don't know what has come in since like last night. But as of last night when I went to bed and I wrote that little thing, Leslie was the producer. So let's find out who's going to be the big producer for Monday, because that's how this works. You drop a little something in the tip jar. The show keeps going. Big tipper of the day then becomes the executive producer of the following show. So thank you so much. If you are so inclined, again, I'll put it right there. As of the start of the show, we're 150 short. Got to come up with 150 before the end of the show on Monday. So we'll get, man, you know what? Look, let me just, before we move into this, so we need to get to 150 just because that's, the number that we need to get to. But that's not a number, like the show wouldn't end. Because the show will not end. Like, we made it. Like, let's just say we made it. We didn't cross the bridge. For the first time ever, we didn't cross the bridge. But as of right now, on the 1st, we're going to go on through December. Because 150, jeez, we can manage that. So thank you to everybody who helped us. We still are in the home stretch, though. So see if we can get across the line. But again, like I said, I don't want anybody doing stupid tips because they think the show, I will never mislead you like that. I promise you. The show's going to continue through December. We're 150 short, but we can make up 150 if we have to. That's not a problem. It's not a problem. I don't want my mom dropping that. That's the thing. I don't want my mom hearing this and going, well, I'll get him. No. Mom, we're fine. Isn't that what moms do too? Every once in a while you look in the tip jar and it's like, Jesus. Every once in a while. Boy, that's downplaying it. But we made it. I'm not going to be crazy stressed out this weekend because I know worst case scenario. I can borrow $150 or I can just go into, the other funds. But Thank you so much. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about what's happening today. Let's bring you up to speed. I'm just thinking in my head, what I just said there. If you just listen to the last 3 minutes, you will understand why I am a shit salesman. Because a person who is a salesman would be like, oh, we're not going to make it. The show's going to end and we're not going to. And because I'm a shit salesman who doesn't want to mislead, don't want you people to think. And I'm trying to keep the numbers up there, right? Showing you the flow numbers, and I'm showing you the people who have tipped. And I'm hoping that everybody who sees that has tipped sees their name and understands that this is as above board as someone as disorganized as I can make it. But that's why I'm a bad salesman, because I didn't hard sell you. Even though we didn't make our bet, we didn't make our point. I still, you know why? I hope that worked. I hope that later, when I do have advertisers, and by the way, my history is we only take advertisers I like. It's like I don't want to. But I hope that reflects on me better as an endorser of products at some point, if that were to be something people would want to do. Because I think in 2024, we're going to open this bitch up to advertising. I really do. If we're going to continue, I know enough people, there's enough people that might want to drop for a title advert. I can pick up the entire month and then I can stop bugging you people. I mean, we'll still throw the tip thing up there because, walking around money and you people can do it as you're so, moved to. But no more of this keeping the show alive. I'm really hoping to change that in 2024. I'm really actually hoping to change a number of things about this show in 2024. First and foremost, a new studio, a new place where we're going to be doing more professional type stuff. A lot of that stuff is coming. So keep it here. All right, let's talk about all the things that are happening. And today, the big news, we start out each and every day with Israel. And there is some news happening out of Israel. We had been in a 5-day truce, ceasefire. There was a deal made between all those good guys in Qatar. Remember the good guys in Qatar, our good friends. You can always trust our friends in Qatar. They brokered the 100 hostages. Well, I guess that's the number. 100 of the 200 have been released. Now, last night at I think it was 11 o'clock our time or something. I don't know what it was, but I was made aware of it. So I was watching the live streams and I was paying attention to what was going to happen the minute the ceasefire ended. And I didn't have to wait till the minute the ceasefire ended, because within 5 minutes of the ceasefire ending, I don't know if some of these dudes had, their watches were slow or fast or whatever, but the bombing resumed 5 minutes before the ceasefire was supposed to end. Here, I'll show you. I actually think I have this. And then I'm going to walk you through all the weirdness that happened over the next couple of hours. Okay. So this is from Sirdat, which is in Israel. And this is a live stream from last night. Live stream video from Sirdat shows the moment rocket alert sirens sounded in the southern Israeli city, followed by a flash of light and a large explosion. And then it says, Hamas has likely broken the ceasefire. Okay. Now remember, this was minutes before the ceasefire was supposed to end. So I'm watching this and I'm going, okay. So apparently the ceasefire is over. And here we go. Let's watch this. Okay. So again, we're still in the ceasefire here, but this is 5 minutes before the ceasefire ends. So they jumped the gun. Okay, first of all, are you guys hearing that? Is that the most dystopian, frightening alarm that you've ever heard? I don't even know what she's saying. It sounds like she's saying evacuate, but she might be speaking in another language, but the tone, imagine you're just watching TV in your living room and then all of a sudden, I mean, I guess we can't imagine it because we have tornado sirens, but what if they weren't tornadoes? What if they were just bombs? All right, here we go again. 5 minutes before the truce was set to end. One, Whatever that was big. All right, so Jesus, we got to get rid of that. That is crazy. All right, so that happened with 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, the ceasefire's over. Oh, incoming! They jumped the gun. So that happened. And everybody, rightfully so, was like, the ceasefire is over. They're back at it. They're warring. And then somehow at the top of the hour, like I said, when the ceasefire was supposed to, end, at the top of the hour, international news, they broke in. I was watching BBC. They broke in. Well, actually, they didn't break in because they were covering it live. And they said that a truce had been reached for another 24 hours, that the ceasefire would be extended another 24 hours. Now, this was being said at the exact same time that people watching the live stream were seeing that rocket attack on Sirdat. So we're like, did anybody tell Hamas that this was over? Now, that attack was followed by a number of other attacks in Israel. One at a checkpoint. That this was a really sad thing. A bunch of Hamas dudes drove up in a car at a bus stop and just started shooting people. The Hamas guys were killed by 2 IDF soldiers who were stationed nearby. One of the IDF soldiers himself was killed, but then a citizen, an Israeli citizen who was armed and is protecting his homeland, was shot and killed by the IDF because the IDF thought they were Hamas because they didn't know what this regulars. Man, it is a mess over there. So anyway, the report that the truce had been extended for another 24 hours was real, but because these things happened moments before the truce, because they jumped the gun, Hamas seems to have fired rockets into Israel with 5 minutes left. They didn't wait the 5 minutes. They waited 5. Because of that, Israeli then went, nope, forget about it. Truce is off. And now we're back to all-out war. Now we're back to all-out carpet bombing, no aid to the Gazans, nothing, just... I figured we'd get here anyway. I didn't think this whole thing was just going to end in a ceasefire. So here we go. Round 2. Let's keep it going, I guess. Big news here domestically. And I don't know, are we celebrating that? I don't know. I'm just like laughing. George Santos. It was a shock. I knew they were going to do this vote this morning. And they were talking about it. And everybody, it's the experts again. You tune in and you see these experts on TV. TV is filled with experts. Football, whether it's football. Oh, you know how I love the football experts, the guys who watch football better than you, who see the exact same thing that you're seeing, but they see it better than you do. Those are the experts. Political experts are the same way. All the political experts. There's no way. There's no way that we have done some independent polling, and there's no way. There's no way that the Republicans give up this seat. There is just no way that the GOP at this time, with only a 4-vote margin lead, and the specter of McCarthy leaving, there is no way that they're going to vote out. That's what everyone said all morning long until the vote started, and they're covering the vote live. And it was so funny seeing these experts going, well, I just can't believe what we're watching. This is absolutely stunning. I cannot believe. George Santos has been expelled from the House of Representatives, no longer a congressman. So we can be done with that goon, that goofball, that oddity, that political weirdo. He's out. They needed 290. They needed 290 votes to expel him. They got 311. So think about that. That's 21 votes. 21 votes over what they needed. And within, the minute before this vote got to this count, the minute before, all the experts were like, they'll never get there. That's just not possible. And they say it so confidently in their fancy suits and their nice haircuts that we all sitting there on our couch eating cheese doodles go, well, they must know what they's talking about. They don't. It's a con show. It's a con show. It's all a bunch of people speak confidently and people will think you know what you're talking about. It's like whenever I walk into some place where I don't belong, whether it's a backstage area without a ticket or something like that, walk in confidently. Just don't look like you're trying to sneak in. Just walk in. Bump into the door guy and say, excuse me. But just do it confidently. Chances are they're going to let you go. Chances are they're going to be like, well, that man knows where he belongs. Getting out of his way. Doesn't always work, but it does work sometimes. And that's why we are suckered into thinking these experts know something that we don't. Some cases they do, like there is expertise in certain areas, specific areas, but not anything as general as like how this crazy, inscrutable Congress is going to vote on this because they got it wrong. And he's out. Santos is gone. They're saying, what was the change here? The change here was this Ohio GOP rep. Guy's name is Miller. We've never heard of him before. Never heard of him before because remember I told you there's two kinds of congressmen. What is yours? Which category of congressman does the person who represents you, your values, and your needs, what category does your congressman fit into? Is he the messenger? Like Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, all the ones we know about because they go on TV and they say stupid shit, and then they go on Twitter and they say stupid shit. There's that category, the messenger, and then there's the legislators. There's the other 400 members of the Congress who you don't know. Why? Because they just do the fucking job. And sometimes they do it shady, and they don't want to be noticed because they are corrupt. But at least they're not out there on Fox News slinging shit. Those are the people we hate. It's why a woman in Nebraska knows and hates Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a congresswoman from New York. Doesn't affect her in Nebraska. It's why that woman hates her, but probably couldn't tell you the name of her own congressman. I don't know who represents me, but I'll tell you, I hate that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a member of Congress who represents a state 2,000 miles from you. Why are you even interested in her? Because that's what they've done. They've ginned us up. And nobody expected Santos to go because the idea was that the GOP is so corrupt that they'll keep this guy around. Well, guess what? They showed that they weren't that corrupt, and it was this guy, Miller of Ohio. By the way, don't tell me I'm not saying the GOP isn't corrupt. They are wildly corrupt. Wildly corrupt. But so are the Dems. Politics in America is corrupt, people. This idea that my team is better than your team is such nonsense. So the GOP did the right thing, spurred on by Ohio Rep. I don't even know what his first name is. Let's call him Gord. Let's call him Gordon Miller. GOP Rep Gordon Miller, whose mother was apparently a victim of one of the stupid-ass scams that George Santos did to fundraise for his election, which is at the heart of this whole thing. He was a con man. He was running cons. He was raising money to run. He raised, I'll put it to you this way. This is not the numbers, but this is just to help us understand it and frame it. So he made $1 million campaigning, and he spent 100,000 of it actually campaigning, and like pocketed the other 900 for like spa treatments, OnlyFans charges. So these are crazy shit. He's a con man. He did what I always tell you. These people run for office because they can raise money, and then if they do it properly, there's no illegality involved in them managing that money once they stop running for what they told you they were going to do. George Santos did it wrong. He did it like really clumsy, and that's why he's in trouble, and he's out. So anyway, this rep in Ohio, Miller, his mom got caught up in one of these scams. She lost a bunch of money. He was out a whole bunch of money himself trying to defend his mother through courts to get her money back and all this kind of stuff. And this Ohio anonymous, because we don't know this Ohio rep writes this letter to all the members of Congress, and they receive it in their email this morning. And apparently enough of them read it and went, all right, fuck this guy. This guy's got to go. Santos is out. All right. Last night also, we had the Hannity Red State versus Blue State debate. Two guys. It was funny. I would say and I watched the entire thing. After watching about the first 40 minutes of it, it was clear to me that any fear that Newsom was going to be at a disadvantage because of the Fox News and all of that kind of stuff, any fear of that was washed away when I quickly realized that no, Newsom has the advantage because Newsom's not running for anything. Newsom can just sling all the shit he wants. He can make shitty remarks. He can throw bombs. And he did. And DeSantis's whole thing is that I'm fucking pissed off and you're pissed off, so vote for me. Like, that's his thing. And so he was doing that. And then Newsom was just kind of like, look at this goon. So it was kind of that dynamic. I don't know I didn't learn anything. I mean, they were both talking over each other and yelling at each other. Here's what I figured out. DeSantis is a cynical asshole, and the other guy's a naive idiot. Newsom. Newsom is a naive idiot. And I always apply the naivety label to these, especially the West Coast liberals who come from money. So they're sort of indemnified from the problems of real people because they have money. They're not worried about their car payment, or like me, I got to go up north tonight. I'm worried about gas, right? Even though gas prices are good. They don't have these real problems, yet they are concerned about their moral health. So what they do is they project all these insane values. So my critique of that West Coast liberal has always been that they pretend they're existing in a world that isn't the real world because of their own advantage and privilege, because they're rich and wealthy and they're enjoying life in Santa Barbara or whatever, and they don't care about, all of these. Anyway, that's always been my thing. So I think there's a bit of naivete attached to the idea of fighting for the world I want to live in. I'm more of a realist. I'm like, okay, I think those are great. Those are aspirational, but we can't make it the entire point of why I'm going to vote for you, because we don't have time for aspiration right now. We really don't. In the 60s with Kennedy, he's always seen as being the aspirational president because he represented a whole new generation. That ain't what's going on in America right now. What's going on in America right now is that we are fracturing, and we could possibly end this whole thing. The idea that nothing could ever go wrong with the United States, that we're going to be around for the next 1,000 years, is absolute ignorance speaking. No civilization, no society has sustained itself for that long. British Empire fell, the Roman Empire fell, everything falls. The American Empire falls. It's going to. Is it going to be in our lifetime? I don't know. I hope not. But we are at a point right now where I think we need to seriously address whether or not we want to remain Americans. So I don't need aspirational right now. I need someone who can fix shit. I need someone who can bring people together. That's what I need. That's what we all need. So I don't know. It was a big waste of time. That was entertaining. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. I think DeSantis an asshole. I think he's a total asshole. I think he represents a really bad vibe and a bad energy, and I don't want to follow him anywhere. He's not my leader. Newsom is like a naive. Again, it's like, oh man, answer the question. Like, he wouldn't. Newsom is so smooth, which is why I think he's going to be dangerous if he was running. If he was running, he would be incredibly dangerous because he is so smooth. He wouldn't answer questions, though. Direct questions. I'm like, yeah, Gavin, what do you think of that? And then he would just, throw barbs at DeSantis, completely off topic. And that's when I kind of went, oh, I see what he's doing. He doesn't have to take any loss. He doesn't matter. A loss here doesn't matter for Gavin Newsom. He's not running for anything. He's not worried about the polls. He's out here to just throw Molotov cocktails at DeSantis and the Republican Party. And it was kind of entertaining from that perspective. Other than that, I could see him doing it again with some other people. What was Newsom? Newsom had a great line, though. He said something about, and Ron, we do have something else in common. Neither one of us are going to be the nominee for our party's presidential candidate, which was kind of like, he did not. He did not. It was fun. It was fun. It was stupid. It was a distraction, but whatever. Again, DeSantis, cynical asshole. Newsom, naive idiot. And not idiot like he's dumb. He's not dumb. He's obviously educated, but just that you would allow your public worldview to be in line with your naivete and sort of wrap yourself in that. It's like, how about some self-awareness? How about some understanding that even the people who you pretend to be advocating for don't give a shit about this stuff? There are bigger, more important things that we need fixed before we move on to the aspirational portion of whatever this next American generation is going to be. All right, moving on. Let's see here. I was like, big news in Trump land. Okay, Trump got another Trump doesn't do well in front of judges, which is got to be concerning to some of you diehards because he's going to be in front of a lot of judges. I don't think I've ever heard a news story where a Trump legal victory today. I don't think I've ever heard that. It's always, they lost again. Maybe it's because his lawyers are all chicks he wants to bang instead of like ugly dudes who are really good at law stuff. I think that's it. I think his law bots, like he just has all these hot lawyers and they're all terrible. They're all just. Anyway, what happened today? A Fed appeals court ruled that Trump does not have president. This is a federal court. This is an appeal now of an earlier judgment that said the same thing. Trump does not have presidential immunity from his actions on January 6th. Now, all of this. Now, why is this important? Because a whole bunch of people, including one guy who's in jail for like the next year or something, a whole bunch of January 6th rioters. And when I say a whole bunch, I mean hundreds. Hundreds of January 6th rioters have filed lawsuits against Donald Trump, saying that he personally misled them in his capacity of leader of their political, whatever. So these are a whole bunch of silly nuisance. I don't know if they're silly. I don't know. They're just, to him, they're certainly a nuisance. And there's a whole bunch of them. So he's trying to get his lawyers to knock all of those cases down and say that they can't bring them in court because these actions, his things that he did and said that you are saying now led to your problems, those things were all done in his capacity of duly elected president of the United States. I was president when I went to the mall on that day and I said what I said and all that stuff. I was acting as president. And now 2 judges in a row, now this one, the federal appeals level, 2 judges in a row have said, dude, you were campaigning. You were out there. You lost the election and you were trying to tell people to make them recount it. You weren't, that wasn't you as president. You weren't dealing with China. You were campaigning. So that's basically what's happened, which could be a real problem. I mean, the question asked was his conduct on January 6th part of his job as president? And now 2 courts in a row have said, no, it wasn't. You can't shroud yourself in that. So we'll see how that plays out. Jesus, this man's lawyer bill. If he does, he needs to become president, and then he needs to like suspend the Constitution and execute the Supreme. He's got to do all of that shit just to save himself millions upon millions in lawyer fees that this guy is looking at in the next 20, 30 years of his life, if he has that long, and I don't think he does. Which is fine, because he apparently doesn't pay his lawyers anyway. Moving on. We don't do divisive politics, but you all know I hate Trump. You know, I think the guy is a clown show. I mean, I think he's very entertaining. I love him. But, you know, I ain't following him anywhere. Y'all got me following Biden. What the fuck is that? Getting lost? I don't like any of these people. You know where I stand. Let's see here. We got a 70-year-old mom in Uganda giving birth to twins today. That's a big story. That seems like a misguided idea. I don't know why they did that. And it gets even fucking weirder, you guys. Excuse me for using the F word, but it's Friday. Gets even weirder. Like when I heard the story about the 70-year-old woman that gave birth to twins, I was like, oh, well, they can do awesome things in, the world's global medical tech centers. Look at that. Bit misguided, but wow. And I find out it's in Uganda. I'm like, in Uganda? I go, they're getting 70-year-old women pregnant in Uganda? So I, of course, figured rape, right? I figured like something terrible happened. Like there's no way that she just like, well, my husband and I have been trying for 50 years, right? I don't think that was the case. I thought something shady occurred in Uganda, and now we got a 70-year-old woman popping out babies, twins. That ain't the case either. This was IDF. This 70-year-old woman had in vitro fertilization in order to give birth to these babies in Uganda. So this was by choice. There's so much going on in this story. Like Uganda, I don't know. I'm an idiot. I live here in Texas. I don't know from Uganda. I thought everybody lived in huts in Uganda, right? Like National Geographic. Wasn't that Uganda? Yeah, we're racist. We're not knowing the different countries in Africa. No, I'm not. I'm just an American. Africa to me is one giant country. And yeah, I know it's not even a country, but I don't know. Uganda, is that like a modern civilized? It ain't Wakanda. Is it? Is Uganda like Wakanda? Isn't Uganda where Idi Amin was? I thought that place was awful. And they're doing like groundbreaking IDF treatments on a 70-year-old woman. What doctor brings me to my next point? What doctor is going to do what doctor? Well, I mean, unless Here's how I can see it being justified. If this doctor's like, this is a big mistake, but this kind of research is invaluable. Let's see if we can make a 70-year-old woman. Like, for scientific reasons, I understand the motivation to go like, yeah, but can we do this? I mean, maybe this would be something interesting to know that we either can or cannot do. Let's see how far we can take this. A 70-year-old woman. Let's see if our IDF is so good that we can get her pregnant. And we did. Now she's 70. All right. Are you ready for the weirdest part of this whole thing? She's 70. She's got a husband. He's 35. That's right. I don't know what is going on with this story in Uganda, but it's a beautiful story about a mother and her new twins. Here's not a beautiful story. This is crazy. This story actually went down not too far from where I'm sitting right now, right around the corner. I can get the story to pull. Shouldn't have to click that many times. Oh, there it is. It only took 70 clicks. There we go. So this concerns Buffalo Bills star Von Miller, who this story broke yesterday afternoon. Von Miller, who I didn't know was a Dallas guy from DeSoto, lives here in Dallas, has a big, beautiful apartment where he apparently lives. Apartment, condo. It's like a $5 million condo right down here on Turtle Creek. Right, it's a high-rise, cool-ass apartment down there on Turtle Creek, Harwood Drive. You know, Wolf Harwood, Harry Hines, that whole area, not too far from here. That's where he lives. I didn't know that's where Von Miller lived. I didn't know that I could be at the Kroger in the neighborhood and possibly run into Von Miller. Next time I see somebody who I think that could be Von Miller, I might go, hey, are you Von Miller? Because he lives in the neighborhood. Plays for the Buffalo Bills. Great. At the end of his career, beat up his girlfriend, apparently. Apparently he beat up his girlfriend, who is now, again, there are some moving parts here, so let me tell you the whole story. There are moving parts, none of them good for Von Miller. Let me just say that. Von Miller, not good. So apparently the Buffalo Bills are on an off week, and he's here in Dallas at his swanky uptown apartment building. And his girlfriend is there. No, his girlfriend's pregnant. And apparently they get sideways. They're making travel plans back to Buffalo because they're only here for, the break. And apparently he demanded that she fly at a certain time. That was also her birthday. And she didn't want to fly on her birthday. She's like, I don't want to fly on her birthday. First of all, she's 6 weeks pregnant. You're supposed to be flying at 6 weeks pregnant? Can you fly? Isn't there? So anyway. So he didn't like that she didn't want to fly on her birthday. And he demanded that she get out of the apartment. Threw her out of the apartment, right? So I'm thinking at this point, reading the story, I'm thinking, throws her out of the apartment. They must not be that serious. Okay, so he knocked her up. So maybe she's just some girl that he knocked up. She's 6 weeks pregnant, so they're not that far along. Maybe they've only known each other for a couple of months. Maybe this isn't a relationship. So he tries to throw her out. Then I come to learn they have 2 other children together already. First of all, Von, marry this woman, you dork. What are you doing? You got 2 kids with her. You knocked her up for a 3rd time. She's still your girlfriend. And now it becomes even stranger that he was like, oh, you don't want to fly when I want to fly? Get the fuck out of my apartment. And he tries to kick her out. Now it's weird because this is a woman he has 2 children with, and she's still living an existence where she can be ejected from her apartment. That's crazy. That's crazy. So he beat her up, put hands on her. Didn't beat her up, but I'll read you the details, okay? I just told you all the weird things about it. Buffalo Bills edge rusher Von Miller is free on bond after police say his pregnant girlfriend accused him of pushing her and putting his hands on her neck during an argument at their Dallas home. According to Dallas police, at about 11 a.m. on November the 29th, officers were called to the 3100 block of North Harwood Street for a major disturbance. The preliminary investigation determined the suspect, 34-year-old Vonnie Miller, and the victim got into a verbal argument, and the suspect assaulted the victim. Miller, police said, left the scene before officers arrived, and an arrest warrant was issued for assault on a pregnant person, which is a 3rd-degree felony. Miller surrendered to police in Glen Heights, Texas. Where's Glen Heights? Is that around here? Miller surrendered to police in Glen Heights, Texas, Thursday afternoon and was freed after posting $5,000 bond. According to an arrest warrant affidavit obtained by NBC5 on Thursday, the woman said she and Miller were at home Wednesday morning when they began arguing at about 10:50 a.m. over when they would travel back to Buffalo. When she said she didn't want to travel on her birthday, she went to an office and slammed the door, which she said upset Miller, which is when he told her to leave. Again, this is the mother of two of his children, and she's pregnant. You can't. What is that? You can't do that. You can't. When you are in a committed relationship, when you have, where's the other kids? What, grandmas? I bet grandmas. I bet that's it. Because, he's living the Von Miller pro football lifestyle. He's got this girl and a bunch of babies. They got the swanky uptown apartment. Von is worth a lot of money, like $100 million. Von is worth a lot of money. Von bought the grandma's nice houses. So they got nice houses out in maybe Glen Heights. I don't know where Glen Heights is, but that's where he turned himself in. I'm certain that that's the deal. This downtown apartment is where Von Miller comes to party. And why not? It's a great place to party, that neighborhood. The woman told police that as she tried to gather some things to leave, he began to shove and push her, all while telling her to leave. She said as she pled to get her phone and laptop, he took out his phone and recorded the altercation as he continued pushing and shoving her towards the door. If he's recording himself putting hands on her, that's the dumbest. Fuck, these guys are so dumb, man. You want to know how dumb pro athletes are? So I was watching, I've fallen into these weird YouTube videos. I'm obsessed with raw police cam footage. I just watch them. Like if I need to kill like a half hour, I'll just like watch these things. And you can seek out certain kinds of things like celebrities being arrested or whatever. Pro athletes, man, young pro athletes, like a 23-year-old with like a $5 million contract, driving like a $500,000 car. You see him get pulled. I love these. They're all so dumb. Do you want to know this seems to be very common. When young pro athletes get pulled over by police, one, they don't know what registration is. Never does a pro athlete go, they just have their driver's license. And 9 times out of 10, that driver's license is either suspended or invalid because it expired. That's another common thing with these pro athletes. Driving their supercars way too fast in like 40-mile-an-hour zones, getting pulled over by these cops. They almost always have a gun. And it's 50-50 whether or not they have the proper paperwork to, because I saw 2 videos. Christopher, a cornerback for the Carolina Panthers. I don't know. He got arrested I took a handgun charge a couple months back. I don't know. Anyway, he didn't have any registration. He didn't know what registration was. And his mom came to the scene because when push comes to shove, we are talking about 23-year-old kids. And I know, well, that's a grown man, and he's making all of this money, and he's got a hoochie girl in the passenger seat. Nah, he's still a kid. He's still just a kid with a lot of money, and now the parents have no legal control over him because he's over 18, but he's still just a kid, and when he gets in trouble, he calls his mommy. So there was this situation where the mom showed up, and the mother was legit. Like, the mom was like, okay, because the mom knew that this could affect his career and that somebody needs to be behaving themselves. And the mom was on the phone with the agent who then conferenced in his attorney, and all of this stuff was going on. But here's something that's really interesting and why I say it's sort of a common thread that none of these pro athletes know anything about car registration or insurance or any kind of documentation. They think you just jump in a car and you start driving. Plates are almost always expired. Tags are faulty, whatever. But this mom is on the phone, and the cop is explaining to the mom about how they're going to need to tow this car. It was a Lamborghini. And the cop's like, we're going to have to tow this Lamborghini. And she's like, why? She's like, I'll just drive it. And the cop's like, you can't drive it. And she's like, I'm his mom. Baby, can I drive the Lamborghini? Can I move it? And the kid's like, yeah, mom, you can move. So apparently the mom physically knew how to drive the Lamborghini. And the cop's like, no. You can't drive it, and he can't give you permission to drive it because he's not the owner of the car. Now, this kid spent the 200 million or 200,000 on this car. It was probably purchased through his agent or something. But when he got pulled over, it was discovered that he didn't own the car, that the car was actually owned by another guy. And when the mom found this out, it was like she got so mad. And I was just reminded about how these young athletes get taken advantage of by these smarter rich guys who are like, okay, what are we going to do with your $5 million signing bonus? You want a Lamborghini? Here, it's downstairs. Is that for me? Yeah, it's all yours. Of course, his name isn't on the paperwork because it's not his, but he paid for it. Yeah. Anyway, Von Miller, he apparently, one of the big things that the police saw about the Von Miller situation was that his girlfriend had marks around her neck from being strangled, and she said that he strangled her. And there you go. So Von Miller's arrested. We don't know if any of this is true. We know what the story is, and we have the story from her side. His name is made public, not hers. I don't know. Again, these are football players, macho. So could I see this being true? All that she's saying? Yeah. Could I also see there being some sort of like middle story that hasn't been told yet about all of this? Yeah. If he's got video of him pushing her physically out the door, that's trouble for him because cannot touch. I've had some knockdown, drag out fights with women. And I'll tell you, my stance is always hands behind the back, arms like this, chin out. Go ahead. I am not going to ever be accused of you saying that I touched you. Oof. I had a situation once where a girl carved up my throat with her hands and her nails, just grabbing my throat. She carved up my throat. And I left. I walked to my friend's house. Or actually got in my car and went to my friend's house. And he's like, shit. So you should take pictures of that. And we took pictures of it. You can't, man. But if she hits you first, you hit her back. Really? Is that what your ego demands? Because you've been hit? Oh, someone who you could put through the fucking wall hit you, and you can't handle that? Think about how you'd like to put her through the wall and how easy it would be and walk away. That's what a real man does in that situation. Oh, she hits you first. No, see, that's the trick, stupid. There is no she hits you first. You live in the moment. You go to jail. Are you trying to avoid going to jail? Because that, for me, that's the number one thing. Not the ego of, you can't hit me. I've got to hit you back now. Be bigger than that. Be a stronger mental individual than that. Because remember, I don't want to spend the night in jail. That's just the whole thing. I want to walk away from this thing. Look, it's gotten out of hand. If the police are involved, end it. There is no. It's the other thing that I love about these YouTube videos. these cop raw footage videos. I know my rights. Everybody knows their rights. Everybody, all right, we're going to look inside the car. You can't look inside the car without a warrant. Well, yeah, I can because you got the door open and I can see that bottle of beer right there. That's probable cause. I don't need a warrant. No, you need a warrant. These people behaving that way. So here's what I don't understand. And this is really, and I've always been like this. This isn't, I've dealt with cops. I've been in a lot of shady situations as a kid. Well, the cops are here. Everyone be cool. And that's the thing. You got to be cool. You got to, as soon as there is a badge involved in whatever is going on, do not stand out. There you go. That's the rule. Don't stand out. Don't stand out. Don't be the one going, fuck you. Do you know who my dad is? Like, don't be that guy. Because again, here's the goal. You're trying to survive the moment. Might the cop be a bit authoritative? Yeah. Might the cop do some shit that's not fair and not cool? Yeah. Is there any mileage for you to be gained in calling that out in the moment? Hell no. No. The only thing to be gained by you calling that shit out in the moment and being a problem for a cop who might be being a dick, the only thing you have to gain in that moment is that your wrist cuffs will be just a little tighter. He'll just make them a little fucking tighter just to hurt you a little more. He may even bump your head on the door walking in. So just, but Pugs, how can you say that? It's wrong. Don't you? I thought you were a man of principle. I thought you stand on principle and you would not accept being spoken to like that. No, in the moment when they got a badge and a gun, it's yes, sir, no, sir, whatever. Get me through this. Because tomorrow morning I'll talk to my lawyer about all this. But right now, in the moment, let's get through it. Let's not go to jail. Let's not make this a bigger problem that we're already experiencing. And if it does turn out that I'm being put in handcuffs, I am not going to start going bah! And losing my shit. Because remember, folks, what's the most important thing about this era of interacting with police? Everything is being recorded. You are being recorded. It's for the cops. The cops want you recorded because 9 times out of 10, it's the citizen that's being the bigger idiot than the cop. Now, occasionally you'll catch a bad cop. Sure. Thankfully, hopefully we'll catch more because there are some bad cops out there. But let's not kid ourselves. 99.9% of the time, it's us, the great unwashed, who are acting like the idiots. And those cameras protect the cops because after this person the next day goes to their lawyer, oh, he tried to sexually molest me or whatever. You see the video and you go, oh, this person was terrible. So you're being recorded. Survive the moment in your interaction with police. Don't think you know the law better than them. Okay, don't give a shit about your knowledge of the Constitution. They're a cop. In the moment, they have the badge, they have the gun, they're going to take you to jail. He can make something up and you will go to jail. Might not stick. Well, that'll never stick. No, it won't. But your next 24 hours are going to suck so bad. Are you ready for that? Just because you can't stop running your mouth? Shut your fucking mouth, survive, sleep in your own bed. Those are my rules. Are cops always right? Hell no. But in the moment, they are the goddamn Nazi Gestapo. And you do whatever the fuck they say so that you can go home. And we all got that friend too, right? This is fucking bullshit. All right, whatever, cop. It's like, shut up, man. You know what? I think I was raised around too many cops' kids. I think that's it. I mean, coming from a family of just cops, and all the other cops' kids. My best friend's dad was like a super high-ranking state police cop. My other friend's dad, all my friends' dads were cops and coaches. It was like, so there were cops. So maybe just the people I grew up around with knew how to behave around cops. Because their dads were cops, right? You just knew how to survive the moment inherently. But I am shocked at like 9 out of 10 people think that they can argue with a cop in the moment and it's going to work out well for them. I don't know that went on with Von Miller, but Von Miller is, what are the Buffalo Bills doing with Von Miller? Hasn't Von Miller kind of been a bust for Buffalo? Like, wasn't he, I don't know what he's done the last few games. Is he healthy? Is he playing? But I thought he was out for real. Didn't he get hurt like right away? I don't know. All right, guys, moving forward on today's fun fest. I don't know what I'm doing. Fun fest. Help me. Hi, Pete. Barney, celebrities should have drivers. You're a multimillionaire, pay dime dude 90 grand to drive you around and hold your gun. Yeah, I mean, that's what megastars do because they have an apparatus. But a 23-year-old kid who was just drafted 2 years ago, he doesn't have that. He's got his boys around him. They don't think that strategically. And by the way, the idea, because you think about this, you pay the idea to drive you everywhere. That's inconvenient. That really is inconvenient for you. It might work on nights out, right? Like I can get that. Like going out in the town, man. That's why I got a driver full time. You do that. But what about when you're just running to the 7-Eleven? Like the case of this Carolina Panther kid. He was just driving to the 7-Eleven in the middle of the day. He just ran up to the store and he got popped. So, I mean, it's him, right? He's sitting on the couch. He's like, oh shit, I got to run to the 7-Eleven. So he's got to get on the phone now and go, hey, where's my driver? Or is it just easier for him to jump in his, you know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. And I think that is the smart move. Like if I had a lot of money, I would have a driver. Hell, even when I didn't have a lot of money, you guys remember Aaron? one of my best friends, one of my oldest and most trusted pals. Aaron owned Metro Limo. When I first moved to Dallas, I realized that I had to go out and I had to do a whole lot of drinking and partying and hanging out with people because it was a campaign. Nobody wanted to hear from me. I was some moderate left-leaning Yankee liberal from Chicago coming down here to Dallas. So we decided we had to go out. And so I was not going to get a DUI like my first 6 months in Dallas because So I hooked up with a guy who became my best friend, and he owned a limo company, and we got to drive around without the worry of being drunk. So, I mean, I get it. I'm all for that. I would, if you can do it, do it. All right, let's move on to Hall & Oates. Remember the Hall & Oates? Remember they're suing each other? We talked about this. Why are Hall & Oates at each other's throats? And there was no more info. When the story broke, it was Daryl Hall sues John Oates. No other information available. Like, we didn't know. We're like, what's going on here? And we thought it was about a lawsuit from a couple of years ago where Daryl Hall was upset that John Oates was doing Daryl Hall songs on his solo tours. Just the idea that John Oates had a solo tour is really interesting to me, but okay. So that's what we thought it was. But now we know the details of why Daryl Hall is suing John Oates. John Oates has been revealed. Here's why. We talked about how valuable these two are. We were shocked when this news first started. And well, maybe we weren't shocked. I was shocked when we learned that they are the most successful pop duo album sales wise in history, selling almost 100 million albums across, around the world. That is a lot of money. 26 consecutive charting hits. So 26 songs in a row they released, charted in the top 40, many of them number ones. I mean, Hall & Oates. I mean, I was not a Hall & Oates fan as a kid, right? They were from the generation a little bit before me. So for me, Hall & Oates was kind of like, that's corny. But now as a grown-up, I'm like, wow. They were the first of all, they were the soundtrack to my youth. You couldn't escape them. I may not have chose to listen to them on my own, but you hear Hall & Oates everywhere if you grew up in the 80s, the 70s, and the 90s. So, man, they're worth some money, is my point. Hall & Oates, they've probably got a catalog that we've seen this now. We've seen a lot of these guys, selling their catalogs for $1 billion, $500 million, whatever it is. So you got to imagine a Hall & Oates catalog, I think maybe 250. I don't know, 250 million maybe for the Hall & Oates catalog, which is currently owned by the partnership Hall & Oates. Hall & Oates own 100% of those things. They're a partnership. They were a music business. So here's why the lawsuit is occurring. John Oates wants out. John Oates is trying to sell his half of the Hall & Oates catalog, and Daryl Hall doesn't want him to be able to do it. And he's claiming, and that's what the suit is about, that in their partnership, in their the Hall & Oates business partnership where they own these songs, they have an agreement that says no one can sell out without the other one. Or at least that's what Daryl Hall is saying. John Oates is saying that ain't true. That ain't real. So that's what they're going to court about. They're going to court because Daryl Hall does not want, excuse me, Daryl Hall does not want John Oates to sell the catalog, the half of the catalog that he owns, to a company called Primary Wave. I don't know how that would work. I mean, I don't know what Daryl Hall's problem is. Because here's why you sell your catalog. This is why these companies are buying all these catalogs and they're selling them to outside interests. Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, all these people have been doing it, and they're making huge money off of it. You sell it to these groups because these groups now use them for all kinds of things: commercial advertising, films, whatever. They'll license the rights to somebody to do a cover, right? So there's money to be made off of the legacy of these songs. That's why they use them. I don't know. Maybe Daryl Hall doesn't want to hear Man-Eater, being used in a Manwich commercial, right? Or maybe that's all right. Has that been done? I'm telling you, in another life, I worked in the advertising business in the 1960s, and I would have been great. Did Manwich ever use Man-Eater? Why not? Why wouldn't you? Sounds perfect. Anyway, that's what's going on with Hall & Oates. Daryl Hall doesn't want John Oates to be selling his portion. New York Film Critics had their award. I'm not a big, I used to be a big award show guy. I don't know that I see enough movies anymore to really enjoy the award show season the way I used to. Like the TV stuff. The TV stuff is the stuff I'm familiar with. I watch the TV stuff. But anyway, one of the first big awards of the year is always the New York Film Critics Awards. There's a number of local film critics awards that are big around the country. New York Film Critics is big. DC Film Critics is big. Chicago Film Critics is big. San Francisco Film Critics is big. Las Vegas, the Las Vegas one is big. Los Angeles is certainly big. That's probably the biggest because Los Angeles is the corporate town of Hollywood. But these are the smaller local award shows that inform the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes and all of that kind of thing. Those voters look at these movies that are being, given trophies in different jurisdictions. So this will give us an idea of what we're looking at because we've got an interesting year of films. Hasn't been a great year of Hollywood films, but it has been a year of fairly big and notably bold films. Oppenheimer, right? You got Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese. Napoleon was just released, right? These are big movies from big directors, Nolan, Scorsese, and Scott. I mean, these are big films. So it's interesting to see how this is all going to shake out when they go head to head. And in New York, they did. They went head to head last night. The New York Film Critics Circle have chosen what's the best movie of the year. I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon, but there you go. That's who New York said. Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, why is this? It's interesting in that it's New York, and New York is always very important. However, it's Scorsese winning in New York, which might cloud it. Scorsese can do no wrong in the eyes of New York film critics because Scorsese has made a career of painting New York as like this, Scorsese land, this amazing, interesting, curious, dangerous, fun, exciting, exotic place. So New York film critics are always going to go, oh, Scorsese? Yes, he wins. So I don't know. Oppenheimer only won for best cinematography. That's it. Best cinematography. So I've seen Oppenheimer and I've seen Napoleon. I thought Oppenheimer was boring. I really did. I didn't make it. God, should I admit this? Am I missing something in the last 15 minutes of Oppenheimer? Because I felt like I got all the way to the last 15 minutes and I was like, what's the point? What is going on here? Does he have a suicide vest on? Is he going to blow himself up in front of this inquiry? I wasn't interested in all that. I don't care. I saw the movie. I understood the process. I got it. Oppenheimer was a tortured man, a genius. I enjoyed the portrayal of Albert Einstein in the film. I did. I liked it. But pound for pound, I said this, and I watched this other movie after watching Oppenheimer. Fat Man and Little Boy. Fat Man and Little Boy from the 1990s. Paul Newman starred in it. That's the story of Oppenheimer. That's the better film. I enjoyed Fat Man and Little Boy better. Fat Man and Little Boy were the two bombs. There was the Fat Man bomb, Hiroshima, and then the Little Boy, Nagasaki, or whatever it was. Anyway, great movie, moves quicker. Not as, I told you this. I discovered that I guess I don't like Christopher Nolan. I think he kind of sucks. I think Christopher Nolan's movies are so drawn out and unnecessarily... I don't even know how to say it. Anyway, not a Nolan fan. I like Napoleon a lot. I love Napoleon. Now, I've been reading a number of reviews from people who are taking their shots at Napoleon and saying that it's so self-involved. And River Phoenix, he portrays, not River, who is it, Joaquin? Joaquin Phoenix, he plays it in a one monotone weirdness. I'm like, well, Napoleon was weird. Anybody who knows anything about Napoleon, and I was a bit of a Napoleon fan in my youth. Napoleon was a weirdo. He was an socially awkward weirdo who said the wrong thing, and he was probably autistic. Let's be honest. They weren't diagnosing kids when Napoleon was in 5th grade, but Napoleon was probably seriously on the spectrum. Very strange. Now, these things may have created this person that he became, the most powerful man in the world for a period of time, or at least Europe. And that's all they considered the world. They didn't really think about. They knew there was stuff else, but they're like those people. If you control England, Germany, Russia, and Austria, and France, that's pretty much the world to them. I thought Napoleon was great. Never saw a horse hit point blank by a cannonball. Never thought I needed to see it, and now I'm kind of glad I did. I'm like, that's what a cannonball would do to a horse if it hit a horse broadside. Wow. And by the way, you don't have to go too deep into Napoleon for that. I think that's like in the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes, you see a horse just take a cannonball in the chest. Whew. Heavy. What else do we have here? Let's see. The New York Film Critics Circle have chosen Killers of the Flower Moon as the best picture of 2023. Christopher Nolan won as director for Oppenheimer. I'm sorry. I thought it was best cinematographer. Christopher Nolan won for best director. The New York Film Critics said Killers of the Flower Moon was the best film. The group will welcome the 2 best movies in the directors of the year. Both films are masterworks that became classics. Killers of the Flower Moon also got best actress for Lily Gladstone. Oppenheimer gets best cinematography. Other winners include Franz Rognoy is best actor in a film called Passages. Well, that is. Divine Joy Randolph, best supporting actress in The Holdovers. That is. Charles Melton, best supporting actor in May, December. I don't know what that is. I don't know any of these movies. What are these movies? I was at the theaters when we went and saw Napoleon, and I'm walking around and I'm looking at all these movie posters for other films that are coming, and I'm like, oh, that looks good, never heard of it. Oh, that looks good, never heard of it. Oh, that looks good, never heard of it. This new Ferrari movie starring Adam Driver, where Adam Driver plays Enzo Ferrari, that looks amazing, but I'm a sucker for a car movie. And yet, ironically, I've never seen a Fast and the Furious film, because that's not a car movie. That's a D-bag movie. All right, moving on. There you go. New York Film Critics Award. They say Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese's new movie, De Niro, DiCaprio, all of that. And what's the other one? What's the movie about the Von Erichs that I want to see? I want to see that. That looks good. But I don't see it advertised anywhere. All right, here's a chart. We like to do these little charts, don't we? Yeah, we do. We like charts. I got a list, not charts, list. People love charts. People love lists. This list was released today by U.S. News and World Report. Is that still what that says? That can't be right. All right, a list of the best. Hold on, wait, is this? Hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, so this is a list of the top college towns in the United States of America. College towns. Now, the reason I want to do this list is because, man, all things being equal, if I can just, like, at the end of everything, like, where do I want to just live? I don't want Florida. I don't want to go live in Arizona. It's a dry heat. No. I want to go be an old dude, and I want to live on a college campus. I want to be an old dude. I want to live there. I want to just be exposed to all the energy. I want to see all the things, I want to be like 75. And I want to be the old guy that's at the bar watching the new kid punk band or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to get old. I'm going to get old. I'm physically getting old. I just don't want to get old mentally. And I want to kind of stay somehow observant of the relevant world. Because what happens when we get older is that our world becomes irrelevant. And we just start so I love college towns. And I know the college town that I want to move to. I want to move to Madison. I want to die in Madison, Wisconsin. I love Madison, Wisconsin. Madtown. I love it. University of Wisconsin, state capital, lakes, forests. It's just gorgeous. I've always had incredible music scene. My God. What Austin is to outlaw country, you could say that Madison is to like pop mid-2000s alternative rock or 90s alternative rock. I don't know. Yeah, Butch Vig, Steve Albini, Garbage, Shirley Manson, their Madison bands. Anyway, I love Madison, Wisconsin. So that's my pick. Madison does not make the list. Madison, Wisconsin, I am shocked. Madison, Wisconsin does not make the list of the 10 best college towns in the United States. What are the 10? Let's start out. Number 10, Atlanta, Georgia. You can't put Atlanta. Atlanta's not a college town, right? This list is bullshit already. You can't. Atlanta's not a college town. A college town is a town that is basically, the college has to be like 50% of its thing. No college is 50% of what Atlanta is known for. That's bullshit. Number 9, Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, this one I get. Raleigh, right? So this is what? This is North Carolina. This is Duke, Raleigh, Durham, right? That area. I get that. That seems like a cool area. Raleigh, North Carolina, number 9 best college town in America. Gainesville, Florida. Nah, that's a pass. I do not want to live in Florida. Charlottesville, West Virginia. Well, till recently maybe, but Las Vegas, Nevada is not a college town. It's not a college town. Nobody chooses Las Vegas for their great history of academia. That is not Las Vegas is a college town. Are you out of your mind? So Madison is not on this list, which is absurd to me. Madison is not. Madison, Wisconsin, one of the most incredible places to live in America. Every year it's like voted 1, 2, or 3. How can it not be on this list? But Las Vegas is the 6th best college town. Get out of here. Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't even know what college is there. Tampa, Florida. No idea. Again, though, they have a pro football team. You can't claim that you're a good college town. College towns don't have pro football teams, okay? Orlando, Florida. Are you fucking kidding me? Orlando? You're claiming Orlando as a college town? I hate this list. I should have read this list. All I knew was that Madison wasn't on there. I didn't really think. Number 2, here we go. This is real. This is legit. This is a top 3. This is one of the top 3 coolest campuses I've ever been on. So absolutely. Number 2, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan is the number 2 best college campus in America. Yeah, it is. It's very similar. Like it's that Midwestern, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Four Seasons college town. Very similar to Madison, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Very, very similar. But Ann Arbor, Michigan's a little bigger. It's a little bit more, I guess, bustling maybe. All right, number 2, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Number 1, the best college town in America. And I know you're going to say, well, how can you have a problem with Las Vegas and Atlanta but you don't have a problem with the number 1? Because the number 1 is definitely known as a college town. Number 1 is Austin. Of course. Yes, Austin is known for other things as well, but primarily it's 50% college town, 50% state capital. That's what Austin is. Austin is absolutely a college town. And it has been judged the best college town in America. I mean, I'm not going to, like I say, Madison and Austin to me are the same thing. The only difference between Madison, Wisconsin and Austin, Texas is 4 seasons. You can have snowball fights in Madison, Wisconsin. You can have a white Christmas and go for sleigh rides and do all that kind of stuff while snowmobiling, drunk off your ass, late after dark when you shouldn't be out there. Whereas Austin is, it's nice year round. So, it's a pick 'em. It's just what you want. Okay, Cowboys game was last night. That's why we didn't do the Radio Misfits show. I do apologize for that, but football is life, as Danny Rojas might say from Ted Lasso. My kid's very involved in his Cowboys, and, I missed out. I was gone for a lot of my kids' life. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of little things that I miss out on, little moments. So if my son wants to be a Cowboys meatball and there's a Cowboys game on and we can be watching the game together and shit texting and calling and hanging up on each other, I'm sorry, I would rather do that than the Radio Misfits stream. So thank you for allowing me that luxury. All right. So we're almost out of time here. Exposed to young college students. You just want to be exposed. The Iron Claw. Yeah, the Iron Claw. Thank you, Barney. That's the Von Erichs movie that looks really good. Jeff Ballard says, speaking of Hall & Oates, where has man-eater Leslie been? That's why I say we are hemorrhaging Leslie's. It's not so. We used to be top draft as far as Leslie's. They all wanted to play here. Now we only got the one, and that's fine. That's fine. Leslie C, our executive producer for today. She's fine. I miss one of the Leslies. One of the Leslies I really miss. The other Leslie I just feel bad for. Man, life is hard. We all go through crazy things. Byron will fill you in, Jeff, but not publicly, Byron. Maybe you guys, let's just try and be. All right. So, Cowboys game last night. That was fun. So I think I told you guys, we have a problem. We have a problem with our closing theme, John Hinckley. Apparently John Hinckley got signed. Apparently John Hinckley is now copyrighted or whatever. Before, he was just putting songs up and I was playing them. It was all cool. It was fair use. But now apparently somebody went and signed John Hinckley to a copyright deal, and now I can't play his music anymore. So I asked people, I said, hey, folks, if anybody out there, and I suggested maybe Rob Barr, maybe Ross Rubio, I don't know, does anybody want to record a bootleg version of Never Ending Quest by John Hinckley? Because I'll just play that as our closing theme every day. That's fine. I don't need the approval of the man. We can find ways around that. And Pete, one of our friends, he made a copy for us. He made us a cover of Never Ending Quest. Problem is I can't get it to play. I'm sorry. I will play it. I will figure this out over the weekend. I will figure out a way to get this to play. I promise you that. But again, anybody else out there, you got a band or something, you want to do a cover of Never Ending Quest, I'd love to hear them. And why not? What a fun little exercise. And don't tell your fellow bandmates who wrote the song. Just see if they legitimately like it. Oh, that's a fun exercise. Dude, oh my God, if any of you guys are in a band, bring a John Hinckley song and pretend like you wrote it and just see what they say about it. And then be like, actually, I didn't write that. Famed presidential wannabe assassin, John Hinckley wrote that. All right, so I am thinking that I may need a new closing theme. And I'm like, I don't know what to use. I gotta find something. I don't even know if I can use this one that I'm thinking might be the good one. Hold on. Let me show you something. Give you a second. Because I'll play it for you. I'm going to play it once off the Spotify, and we're going to see if Spotify dings me. If Spotify's like, hey, you can't play this song on your stream. But first, I want to show you guys something. It's really awesome. And we can even, if you guys got nowhere to go, if you got nowhere to go, we might even be able to watch this for a little bit. Hold on, I'm getting it all pulled up properly. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm on the lookout for a new closing theme. And if you follow me on Twitter at Pugs Moran, you may have seen this. I discovered this the other night, and it just is the greatest thing ever. I shared it on Twitter. A number of you have commented on it, and I want to play it here so that we can watch it a little bit. But this is Corey Feldman. You guys remember Corey Feldman? Man, let me tell you something about Corey. We can sit here and we can laugh about Corey Feldman. Oh, and we are going to laugh. Oh, this is so cringy. This is so bad. But, dude, Corey Feldman had a run of hit movies in the 1980s that you cannot deny. You cannot deny. And I was looking this up and I was like, oh, man, look, I feel fine making fun of Corey Feldman because as he aged, he got really weird and he turns out he's a super big douchebag and he has no self-awareness. But boy, oh boy, you cannot deny that he was a bankable A-list movie star. A-list. And you know how I am about A-list, B-list, C-list, D-list. I try to be very serious about that because there has to be somebody he's my favorite. Yeah, but they're not A-list. Yeah, they are. No, they're not. They're in an NBC sitcom. They're not A-list. They're famous. Yeah, they're C-list famous. They're sitcom famous. That's not global box office asses in seats famous. It's totally different. There's A-list, there's B-list. Corey Feldman was A-list. He had a run, you guys, of like Goonies, Stand By Me, Lost Boys. Look it up. It is really impressive. If you just kind of think that he's just that dude from like, Dream a Little Dream and stupid movies with Corey Haim, he's not. Corey Feldman was involved in some very big, super awesome films. I know that when I watched Lost Boys with my son, and again, this is my son doesn't know anything about Corey Feldman. He doesn't have any of this bullshit built up, but I can tell you that my son, when we watched Lost Boys, immediately liked Corey Feldman. Froggy. He immediately like Froggy was a cool character. My kid's like, and then I'm like, that dude's a total D-bag, right? I ruined it for my kid. My kid had this unvarnished first impression of Corey Feldman in Lost Boys, thought he was funny, thought he was entertaining, and then I shit on it. Yeah, that guy, let me tell you about that guy. Boy, he grew up to be a piece of work. My son always yells at me when I do that. I did most notably for wrestling. My son was getting way into wrestling. He was like 9 or 10 years old. He's getting way into wrestling. And I go, all right, look, we got to have a conversation right now because I don't want you to be the stupidest kid in town. He's like, what? I'm like, this isn't real. These are not. Oh, and he fought me on it. It's real. I'm like, no, it's not, man. It's not. It's all scripted. And I'm pulling up videos and I'm making them watch videos of, Hulk Hogan in court testimony admitting that it's fake. It's terrible. And you know what my kid did? My kid looked at me and through tears, he said, why do you ruin this for me? Oh, it was so genuine, so sincere. Can't help myself. Couldn't help myself. I felt so bad. That wrecked me. He's like, why did you ruin this for me? And I'm like, yeah. Why did I ruin that for him? Why did I feel the need? Why did my ego in that moment demand to be the authority on wrestling where I was going? Why did I need to do that? When I knew, or at least hadn't considered, but now I know that the result was him being crushed because my ego demanded, let me tell you something about wrestling. See, these are the battles that I fight every day. Trying to be a decent person. Why did you ruin this for me? You ever had a little kid look you in the eye and say something like that? So innocent. And you're just like, it's because I'm a piece of shit growing up. I've been through some stuff, man. I'm broken and I'm going to do my best over these next few years to try and make sure that my limitations don't destroy you as a young adult. That's it. It's the only way to answer that. So I want to show this. This is Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman's got a band now, and he's playing a bunch of concerts. I don't even know what the band's called. I think it's just Corey Feldman. Famously, he was on Howard Stern a number of years ago. But Riot Fest, which is this great concert festival in Chicago. It's a really cool. It's like the coolest of all of them, if you ask me. And not because it's in Chicago, because it's supposed to be punk rock. It's because it's like the original, when Lollapalooza was like crushing and, all these big, big corporate sponsored, Pepsi presents Bonnaroo or whatever, all these things were happening. Riot Fest popped up in Douglas Park in a sketchy neighborhood on the northwest side or north or west, I don't know, west side in a sketchy neighborhood. And they just threw a punk rock festival. And it was just all of these cool bands from the past. I remember when the Germs played and the Misfits. It was badass. And it's grown for years and years and years. And now it's like really a very cool thing. And sometimes they have gimmick acts like Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman performing at Riot Fest. I want to play a little bit about this. I want you to see how terrible he is. So this is Riot Fest from this year. This is Corey Feldman, full set at Riot. We're not going to play the full set, but this song that he opens with, I think is going to be our new closing theme. So for your approval, here's a very awkward Corey Feldman. Oh, by the way, there are things to look for in this video, like the guitar player. If you don't even watch Corey, look, Corey, actually the first time you watch it, watch Corey, because Corey's like just so nuts. But then the second time you watch it, just pay attention to the guitar player. The guitar player is having the worst day. The guitar player, he's got a broken string. No one will help him. Corey's in a bad mood. He doesn't play. The entire first song, the guitar player is screaming at people to help him with his guitar, and nobody's helping him. It's very funny. So this is Corey Feldman. Oh, also, watch for this. Corey Feldman thinks he's on a movie set. Corey Feldman comes out, and then he's off beat. He is going off beat. You can see it, and you can see he tries to adjust. But because his ego is so insane, he stops the whole thing. Stop! 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 When have you ever seen a band take the stage and start playing and go, wait, stop! Stop! It's like he thinks he's on a movie set, like take two. And someone in the audience actually yells, take two. But he was the one that was off beat. And then watch him scream at the girl. There's a girl to the right. You can't really see her, but she's on a computer. He screams at her like it's her fault. All right, here we go. Corey Feldman, this is our new closing theme. It's called Comeback King, and it's by Corey Feldman, and here's how he performs it live. Oh, that dude who just walked out. That's the guitar player you got to keep an eye on. He is having a bad day. And now you're going to see a girl who keeps running out. She was just yelled at by Corey to get out there. You can tell by how quickly she's running. It's like, oh, Corey's mad. Like, okay. So that's the girl that he's going to yell at. I can't see her. Right? He's the bass player. He's just a hired gun. He doesn't like playing for Corey. But whatever. He doesn't care. He was almost in Stone Temple Pilots. That's what he'll tell you. Now he's playing with Corey Feldman. All right. So there he is. There's Guitar Guy. He is having a terrible time. Something's not right. We'll see.
Hey, you guys, let's start a chant to bring Corey out here. What do you say?
Yeah.
All right. Couple of things. One, Corey is backstage, and he's waiting for the crowd to be fully lathered up for the entrance of Corey Feldman. This dude here, I love this guy too. This guy's not into it. This guy fucking hates Corey. You can tell him he just fucking hates working for Corey, but you know, it's a check, and he's a musician and whatever. He knows how absurd this is. So what Corey wants is the entire stadium, the entire crowd of Riot Fest to be going, Corey, 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 or chanting whatever it is. That's what Corey wants. And in Corey's weird mind, that's a possibility. This dude is the one who's sent out there to make that happen. And just listen to how unenthused he is. He totally knows that this is not going to work.
Here he comes.
The comeback king. Here he come, the comeback king. Here he come.
Here he come, the comeback king. That's what he wants everybody to start chanting. You know, look at this guy. The guitar player is having a difficult time. Have you been watching the guitar player? Gets worse.
The comeback king. Here he comes, 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 the comeback king.
Go.
So how many times do you do it before you realize, hey, Corey, they ain't gonna chant your name, dude. Get out here and shake your little ass. This is going nowhere. And now the guitar player's like, hey, come on, help us out, man. Corey's a tyrant. He's gonna blame us for you guys not chanting his name.
Comes the comeback king. Here he comes.
Come out.
Come on. Do you want him to come out? No.
Comeback king.
I don't really care.
Here he comes, the comeback king. Here he comes, the comeback king. Here he comes, the comeback king. Here he comes,
So cringy.
comeback.
All right, let's go! Corey Feldman! All right, yeah. Top feet. Oh, look at how he puts it on the wrong feet.
Start. I don't have the track coming from my mind though. On the same count, everybody. Really? Take two.
I'm the same crowd, everybody. Really? No. We gotta go back. We gotta go back because we're gonna watch this whole thing happen where he's off beat and then just screams at the blonde girl over here, who is probably his girlfriend, which is probably a great indication of how he treats women he's in a relationship with, because he starts blaming her instantly for his own mistake. Now, here's the other thing that's happening. And we're going to play the song because, again, you need to hear the song because the song is going to be our new closing theme. Are you watching the guitar player? Are you watching this guy over here? He's having difficulty, and he is this close to losing his shit with all of this.
I don't have the track coming from my mind though.
So we're not hearing it through the
On
month.
the same count, everybody. Really?
Everybody's laughing at him. Everybody's laughing at him. What? All right, now the guitar player's putting his guitar down. He's not even going to play. We got a tech out there. The guitar player is now storming off the stage. Now they get. Hold on, this is good. Okay. Catch that? The guitar player just got into an argument with the girl that Corey was yelling at. And he's like, and he throws something down. And now he realized the song is playing. So he's got to get back to his instrument. All right, so let's watch that again. The guitar player is really entertaining.
Count, everybody. Really?
Take two. Now here comes the guitar player. His monitor is not working. Not hearing anything. He's very upset about it. Now he's going to go and put these chords. And the girl is going to say something to him. And now he's like, what the fuck you? What this fucking bullshit? And this is our new closing theme, you guys.
I treat you like spit. When you reach for the door, they're gonna close it. You're a beautiful soul, but no one knows it. Do we all have sadness? Moments that we love. When we're massacring words, show them who is born.
3, 4. I'm a comeback king. I'm missing nothing. I'm a comeback. I've listened to this song now like 100 times, trying to convince myself that we're going to use it as a new closing theme since John Hinckley went all corporate. I don't know. I think this song might be catchy.
I'm the comeback king. You know what I mean. When I'm gone, send a scene like a blank screen. You can never count me down. You can never count me down. But you can never count me down. But you can never count me out. 'Cause I'm the comeback.
Okay. All right, that's it. We're gonna stop right there. And this is the album version. So this is gonna be our new closing theme.
What time it is? It's a comeback. I'm the comeback king. I ain't missing nothing. If it's going to swing, you better make it sting. 'Cause I'm the comeback king. Get you down on the floor, they're gonna keep it. They just give you some more and treat you like spit. 'Cause when you reach for the door, they're gonna close it. You're a beautiful soul, but no one knows it. It's true, we all have sadness.
Okay. All right. That is going to be our closing theme from now on. There it is. Corey Feldman's Comeback King. Until they tell us we can't. Maybe he might have a deal. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he'd have a deal. Like he doesn't seem. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see if YouTube decides that we suck and we can't use that song anymore. All right, folks, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you back here on Monday. And again, if anything big should happen in the world, you can always keep it here. Breaking news. I'll try and jump in, cover anything that, I want to go on. If something big is happening. Not everything. I need to do more of that. But I found myself the last couple of big breaking news things that I would have jumped in for. I don't remember what they were, but I remember I was not home. I was like, damn. Yeah. All right. Tip the show if you can. We'd appreciate that. We are still, I haven't checked what we got today, but we are starting this show. We were about 150 short. Thank you so much to everybody who contributed to the show this month. We're going to continue on through December. We're going to be fine. Worst case scenario, I can sell some blood. We can get it there. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to Leslie C., who is our executive producer today. Again, anybody who tipped today or tipped after Leslie last night, I'll include all of that in Monday. So thank you so much. And now we're out of here. Let's listen to Corey Feldman, the Comeback King.
Who is boss? I'm the comeback king. I am missing nothing. If it's going to swing, you better make it sting, 'cause I'm the comeback king. I'm the comeback king.
Oh, by the way, we need to address something here. Jeff Ballard with just a callous, horrible remark concerning child molestation, but okay, that's fine, because it is a worthy question. Jeff Ballard wonders, is this the Corey that Michael Jackson diddled? Allegedly, Jeff. I'm sure the Jackson estate still had alleged. No, I'm kidding. Of course he did. He wants to know, is this the Corey that Michael Jackson diddled, or was it the other Corey? Talking, of course, about Corey Haim, who sadly died of a drug overdose about 15 years ago. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, they were the two Coreys. They were best friends. They did movies together. It was Corey and Corey. Fun fact, Michael Jackson diddled them both. Both.
When I'm gone,
allegedly.
Like a blank screen, you can never count me out.
Yes.
I'm the comeback.
King's arrival, palm branches, that regal title. Young disciple, legend taught.
Oh my God. Seriously. That is such a great line, Barney. That is a good line.
Can DB rival?
Barney with the line of the night. That's funny. This is what happens when you're too big for sound check.
To lose and then you rise last. After the aftermath, swinging pitches that new class. Turn the lights on, cameras out. Guess who's back? The lost boy been redefined, divine line. Intertwined through soul and mind, a perfect time. Through the chief musician, this is a freedom find. Kingdom stance, a pioneer, a lion's back. On the path, we're all welcome, let's see it glass.
I'm the comeback king. I am missing nothing.
Yes.
If you're going to swing, you better make it sting, 'cause I'm the comeback king. I'm the comeback king.
We won't give up,
Know what I mean? When I'm gone, send a scene. Like a blank screen, you can never count me out. Coming to this world, we all have nothing. You break your back on the job, just trying to fit in. You see these people around, they're always silent. So when you turn your back, they can get violent.
Oh my God, you guys. Can we all agree that this song is way too long? How long? This is an arrogant son of a bitch here. This kid cannot. He just thinks people want more and more.
Your life feeling a misfit. You try to get your voice out, they missed it. Instead of kicking my ass, they would've kissed it. I was dropping the bomb without the fuse lit. They offer you breaks to make you commit sin. They place a film around your name to cause distraction. Missing your chances to advance is a mission. But they will never catch me down, so keep on fishing.
Oh my God. I'm sitting here. We've got to do a lyrical litigation on this song. We've got to break these lyrics down. These lyrics are nuts. These lyrics are so stupid. Well, they're so interesting as they pertain to who we think Corey Feldman is.
We all have sadness and moments that we lost. This week we must look inwards. Show them who is boss. I'm the comeback king. I am missing nothing. If you're going to swing, you better make it sting, 'cause I'm the comeback king. I'm the comeback king. You know what I mean. When I'm gone, send a scene. Like a blank screen, you can never count me out. I'm the comeback king.
Coming back.
I am missing nothing.
Count me out.
If you're going to swing, you better make it sting, 'cause I'm the comeback king. I'm the comeback king. You know what I mean.
Just when you thought you counted me
never
out,
count
was
me
right there.
out. I'm a comeback king. I am missing my
Comeback king.
If you're going to swing, you better make it sting, cause I'm the comeback king. I'm a comeback king. You know what I mean. When I'm gone, send
Boy, I see you.
like a blank screen, you can never count me out.
Yes.